here is some of what we'll be covering today. 3 advanced SEO techniques to achieve success. Google Analytics advanced filters and segments. SEO measurements in the automotive industry. Branded versus non-branded traffic. This is a very important new metric that we've been focusing on. And how Capital Ford Lincoln increased traffic by 42% using SEO compared to their branded traffic. So it's a case study that we did here at PCG for one of our clients. It's about the success of that dealership and how they improved over time. So why we do SEO and why it's not a game. I've seen some posts in the industry, in different forums and areas that cover SEO and that all search engine optimization is just a game. You're trying to game Google, you're trying to trick the formula. But I'd like to ask the group here, I have a whole bunch of people online today, who said this quote, "Effective search engine optimization can make a site more crawlable and make individual pages more accessible and easier to find." That person goes on to say, SEO ensures that the right words are on the page and not just industry jargon that normal people will never type in. So who do you think, if you're on this advanced conversation, who do you think would be the person that actually said this? All right, I see a couple of guesses going on in here. It's not in the automotive industry. So that should narrow it down for you. And it is someone that's considered to be, someone that's an authoritative person on SEO. So I see that the majority of people, and I thank you, Taylor, for thinking it was me. No, it's not. I see the majority of people have gotten this right. Matt Cutts. So people in the office say that I have a man crush on Matt Cutts. I would venture to say that that is correct. You can't do proper search engine optimization without paying attention to the things that Matt Cutts says in the industry. So you need to focus on some of the items and advice that come out of the Google Web Spam team. Now, some of the things you should already know from conversation today, basics of SEO, keyword research, importance of writing content and unique content and interesting content, sharing it socially, meta tagging, titles and descriptions, webmaster tools, sitemaps, and robots.txt, H1 and H2 structures. Again, that is getting a little more detailed and a little more advanced, but it is something that's a little more basic now, things that have to be covered. The importance of social media, Google Plus business pages or Google Maps listings, and your Google PageRank with the recent updates. So, looking at recent updates like Penguin, Panda, and Venice, those have to do with unique content on your website, the linking that goes to your website, and of course, the different way that maps information is displayed. Those are some of the most basic SEO things you now need to focus on. Believe it or not, if you don't know some of these things, you're probably not covering the basics. So you do need to get back to basics if you haven't covered these things. So let's get started on the advanced SEO techniques. Let's go to the first one here. Utilizing your dealership umbrella or group website and network. Believe it or not, the majority of dealerships that I speak to on a daily and weekly basis about their SEO campaigns and strategies and how they utilize their existing materials and their web of content do not remember to optimize and utilize the umbrella or group website. The majority of the people that are in today's webinar have more than one store. In fact, I looked it up. I started doing some research on the people that were attending today. The majority of people have 3 stores or more because you are looking at the entire group's concept of SEO. You've got the budget for search engine optimization. And that's something also I'm going to be hinting on a little bit later in our conversation, is the budget size for proper search engine optimization and techniques and the amount of hours you need to spend. In the umbrella and group website terminology, that would be the website that hosts, let's say, your generic, the automotive dealership group's listing of different stores and locations. It has all of the brands on the home page. When people land on that home page, you click on the brand, and that's the store you go to. It's probably a URL that you advertise on your billboard, on your radio, on your TV, and then it bounces people to the next page. I think we can all agree to that's what an umbrella or a group website is. But it seems like people just stop at the homepage link to the branded website, the individual brand website, and they don't create a landing page for each location. That is the advanced technique that we want to utilize. A one-page spread all about the dealership's history, location, and links to the dealership assets. Optimizing content, blogs, specials, driving directions, geo-targets, getting in, even if it's possible, the RSS feed or the blog feed from that specific website onto this page on the group website. So let's take a look at an example of why you should do this. Google is trying to diversify the listings on the page for one search result. So your one URL may only get one or two listings on the page. If you have site links because it's a very specific terminology, like they're looking up the dealership name, sure. You could have, let's say, your automotive group name is a search. On that search result, you could have the group, you could have the individual stores, but we're talking about more those difficult terms to rank for. The keyword phrases that are not your dealership group name. We want to push up assets that you benefit from to control more of page one than your competitors. So here's a good example of how to utilize your umbrella or group site. This is some of the work we've done for our clients. This is real live working information. We utilize the group website to have a landing page for each one of the dealership's locations and rooftops. We use a little bit of the about information, the history of the dealership, a picture of that dealership. We get driving directions from the localities around that dealership that you're trying to geo-target. And we use links to other assets with anchor text we want to optimize for. So anchor text is a beginner kind of terminology, right? You know that anchor text is important. You know that it's something that you use to link to a page or a website that has the keyword terms you want to show up for. In this strategy, we're utilizing the value of the umbrella group site, which usually has a higher page rank than your individual sites, unless somebody's been doing a stellar job at that one particular location, because all of your other locations will point back up to the umbrella or group site. So here we want to do deep linking into the site or linking to other assets. For the keyword terminology, we want the dealership's assets to show up for. These pages are built on the umbrella website. They're sub-pages. They could be underneath the Contact Us. They could be underneath the new vehicles pages. Jordan asked a great question just now. So are these pages being built on the group website? Yes. I would recommend they are built on the group website so they have the ability to show up, as well as they're helping to push up other assets that you have. Okay. This page also pushes out links with anchor text to DealerRater, Facebook, Twitter accounts, the patch listing. There was an article on patch about this dealership that we'd like to show up higher for that geo-target. Now, Jordan, your follow-up question is a very good one. Does dealership A, let's say the Ford dealership, then I'll go back up here, does dealership A, the Ford dealership, then link off to the Kia dealership? In many cases, you don't usually want that to happen because the dealership level gets upset about that. The splitting off of traffic, could this divert traffic from my dealership and my brand off to other brands? We usually see that it would be a good technique, but the social ramifications of telling another dealership, the VW dealership, that you should link to the Ford dealer is usually not going to work out. So that's one of the reasons why we want to do this on the umbrella website. So advanced SEO technique number 2, micro-formatting, also known as rich snippets. Helping search engines help you. So help me help you. You want to help the search engines find the structured data on your website. Matt, isn't this handled by my website provider? This looks like some crazy code that you're writing here on the right-hand side, that little example of rich snippets. It should be handled by your website provider, but not all website platform providers have standardized this concept. Some of them are still a little bit in the dark ages where they don't actually do it. So what is a rich snippet and microformatting? Okay, microformatting is the actual code. It's the thing you do to the words on the page underneath the code, which you can see in this little sample here, to tell search engines when they come by, this is structured data. This represents my business listing with my business name, my address, if it's important enough, the longitude and latitude, which you can get from Google Maps, and also the authorship markup. So that's kind of like a sub-advanced SEO technique, isn't it? Microformatting, the code underneath, helps to show rich snippets. A rich snippet is when you see that person's face next to a listing. Google has done some studies, you've seen some other industry studies. When that little face of the authorship markup shows up in the search result, there is somewhere between a 5 and 10% increase in the amount of traffic that will go to that listing. People like engaging with other people. People are asking if there's going to be a recording of this webinar. Yes, we are actually live recording this webinar right now. So if you do need to hop off at any time or come back, you can jump back into it on the live recording, which we will release in about a day or two. So a good starter's guide for rich snippets and microformatting. How does it work? You can do business listings. You can do authorship markup and publisher markup, but you can also do events and products. Now, the product section of this in schema.org is not very well defined for car dealerships. There has not been a set format that every car dealership could really all agree on, or every rich snippet creator could really agree on. It doesn't show up in search results, but it will help you in the future to identify products. It's kind of like that old XML structure. So we want to use Google's new rich snippet tool to show us what's currently on the page. Does your website provider give you that structure already, or do you need to go and request that structure? So how do you test it? You go to google.com/webmaster/tools. There's also /rich snippets. So google.com/webmaster/tools/rich snippets. You could also type in Google Webmaster Tools Rich Snippet Test, and you'll get this page here, this tool. You run it on your page. You can do it on your home page or a blog post, and you get this structured data feedback. What will your title tag, your URL, and your description look like? Again, the basics of SEO, metadata. Here's the picture of the author if the author is there. You can see we've set this up for their mascot, Bella Barbera. And then this shows us the authorship markup. Now, if you want to, you can go out and look up authorship markup and rich snippet testings. I've got some questions here that I'd like to answer. I do like answering questions as we go along. So can I set up the Google Plus page under my Google account because I actually author blog websites? Good question, Jeff. You should create a persona for the dealership, or you should set up an authorship account as a ghostwriter for the most prominent person at the dealership. If someone is always featured in the radio spot or the TV ad or the newspaper, they're a talking head of some kind, or it's a mascot, I recommend creating it first based off of a real live person. Make sure you tell the person at the dealership, like the head of the group, that they're going to have an account and that you're going to ghostwrite for them for better optimization to get more people back to the website. That will help you out. So that's really the focus of the authorship and the publisher. Now, the publisher information is based off of the business listing information. So authorship is the person. Publisher is your Google Map account. So I'm going to go back to one of the questions. Should we connect the authorship markup to, if we are subcontracting the blog to a third-party content writer? No. Brian, that's a very good question. If you are having someone else write the content, it should be a face or a person at the dealership or at your business. Another question from Iris. So there's an authorship Google Plus markup that's for publishers. Yes, that is correct. So I could make my dealership the publisher and have our names come up as the authors. That is exactly correct. So if you wanted to, I could dive a little deeper into this and show you the code for it. You would see that on this blog post page, there's both the authorship link and the publisher link. We use a standard footer template in all of the content that we write so that you can see that happening. So am I going to make you write code in your blog posts on your website and make you do all these crazy things? Of course not. So here's your second tool tip. Microformats.org code hcard creator. That will help you to set up this structured data if it's not already there. You'll be able to copy it and paste it into the HTML version of the information at the bottom of most of your websites and platforms. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to the next third tip. Advanced SEO tip number 3, great for local SEO, is citation and link building. You could break these out into 2 different topics and conversations. I like to try and keep them as one, because if you're going to be going off-site SEO, which is what this concept is, off-site SEO, then you want to be building citations and link building. So what are citations? Citations have to do with knowing your listings, your other business listings out on other websites. Links are simply links coming back to your dealership with the right anchor text. But I'm not just going to go as basic as link building. That's just too simple. That's not an advanced SEO topic, Matt. Citations and links, as I just said, are essentially the same concept, but citations are more for specific and local listings. In a citation, it would be in a Yellow Pages, a City Search, Judy's Book, or Angie's List. You want to make sure that you have the same phone number. I'm sorry to tell you, no more tracking numbers across multiple listing services. Just chalk it up to the fact that when you want to show up better, Google is actually using your phone number as one of the most important combining pieces of data and metrics that says this listing on site A is related to this listing on site B. Dealership name, address, phone number, city, state, zip should all be identical. You should not try and do a separation of 243 West 34th Street, 243 W period 34th ST, and all these different variations. Go to your Google Maps, find out what Google calls that address, and name everything else in all the other listing services those exact same names, addresses, towns, zip codes, and phone numbers. I also recommend it be the local phone number. Now, this isn't just a recommendation from me. This is from speaking with, at the Digital Marketing Strategies Conference, Google Maps, Google Plus business page managers. People that work at Google came to the last DMSC, and I hosted a conversation between them and, of course, 50 disgruntled automotive industry experts. And they said, why is my map account not syncing up with what I tell Google? Or the quote that I have here, I tried this in my Google Plus business pager map listing and it didn't change. It's because Google trusts you, but it also trusts the other 15 or 20 other resources it goes out to. The question that Brent has, if you have multiple dealerships and the same phone number or operator that all routes to one BDC, is that okay for your map account? Brent, I'm going to go SEO and not automotive industry standard on everybody here. The SEO best practice is if you've got a different physical location, that it has a different physical location phone number, especially if you're going to have different map accounts. I can go on and on about this all day, but the most important thing to know is that the phone number is used for tracking. The question that Jeff is about to present me is the most common question I hear when you get to a more advanced structure. What if you have 3 brands, same address location, and same local phone number? You will then expect all 3 of your map accounts to be combined into one. It's a bummer, isn't it, Jeff? Let's say you've got a Jeep dealership and you've got a Ford dealership. They all route to the same phone number. They're handled by the same operator, and you're at the same physical location, same address. Google is most likely going to consolidate it all. Is it always better for best practices that it does that? Probably not, because we want to see your map account split out for Ford and split out for Jeep so that they have more value to those Jeep and Ford searches. It is less work for you, Jeff, but it will be more confusing to some of the people at the dealership level. It's a very good point. So, continuing with citations and links. GetListed.org is your primary resource for citations, map accounts, phone number listings. Great value there. But for link building, you want to go out to Open Site Explorer and Majestic SEO. These 2 services are free. I love that. The only section in Open Site Explorer that's not free, the statistics, are Facebook and social media metrics. Those are not free. But the important information that you'll get from Open Site Explorer tells you the links that you're getting, the anchor text that's linking to you. You can also compare link metrics or run the same report on competitors. So a lot of people in the automotive industry stop me and say, Matt, this is great for my linking report, this is great for my traffic report. Can you tell me what my competitors are doing in this space of SEO? Well, it's easy to tell you what they're doing for content. You go to their website, you look at their blog, you look at their pages, see if the website is expanded, see what their meta tags are all about. On-site SEO factors, easy to do. Off-site SEO factors, harder to do. Open Site Explorer and Majestic SEO help you to do that. So you can trust the information that's in Webmaster Tools for links to you as a link count. But link count reports will almost never match. They don't have the exact same computers with the exact same algorithms that travel the web at the same speed. So don't ever expect these link numbers to match up. It's just not going to happen. But you can watch your competition using Open Site Explorer and using Majestic SEO. You should go after the places that your competition gets links from and see if you can get their links swapped out for yours. That is more of an advanced topic. It takes more time. You go out to question and answer sessions. You go out to forums. You type in weird things that people would never type in, but you do it for the purpose of finding places you can get more links from. Why has Google cracked down using the Panda and Penguin, more specifically the Penguin update, and another Penguin update that's going to be launched or has been launched secretly already, to crack down on bad linking practices? Because people were buying links and doing the easy way of getting links. They weren't networking. This second bullet point, using local contacts at charities, chambers of commerce, and local sports like kids sports, kids little leagues, traveling soccer groups. They have websites, they have blogs, they have information. If you're a sponsor of any one of these things, if you participate in the local founders parade, you donate cars, get your information posted on that site with a link back to you. They usually all have websites now. Ask for the links for things that you sponsor. Okay. Kevin says that our OEM site, and I'm going to go back to this real quick, our OEM site requires a tracking number Is there any way around that? Kevin, if you could be more specific in your question, it says OEM site requires a tracking number. Do they mean on the business listing accounts? I've actually never heard of an OEM site requiring that there be a tracking number on citations and business listings. You can use a local number. Google's advice is that they recommend a local area code phone number. If you go and create a local area code phone number that is also a tracking number, that's fine with me. Just make sure you always use that consistent phone number. Okay. So I hear that people are giving me feedback that Cobalt, one of the most common providers, requires tracking numbers on their sites. On their sites, absolutely. The thing I'm talking about is the citations and business listings in directory services. Just want to make that clear. So those were the 3 advanced SEO tactics we're going to go over today. There are a lot more in this industry, but I just wanted to start with 3. So we're going to move on to the Google Analytics Advanced Filters and Segments. Why use them and how to use them. Google's Advanced Analytics Filters and Segments helps you to filter out different analytics faster. You don't have to recreate or re-enter in the different things to populate a report. You can use the same benchmarking over and over time. So it's the click of a checkbox to apply that filter or not. Keep the important metrics in front of you and your team, and measure things like vehicle detail pages and engagement by traffic source. And we're going to go over that right now in a live look at analytics. So if you give me just a second, I'm going to switch my screen here. I'm going to go out and I'm going to go into a client's account. So I've logged into Google Analytics, and I just want to confirm everybody can still see the screen that I'm on here today. That is the Google Analytics audience overview. Okay, good. I'm getting some good feedback. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Thanks for sticking around with me here. So looking at the audience overview, there's this new little section here that if you haven't gone into analytics before, in the top left corner, advanced segments. You click on that. Now we've already set up a bunch of advanced segments, so I'm going to show you what they look like. This client is a Dealer.com or DDC client. We've also got other filters that we can help you set up and show you how to use them, but we're going to use this Dealer.com filter service just as an example. Now this is something we set up personally. PCG Digital Marketing has created a whole bunch of internal filters that we use for our reporting for clients. We'd like to see the industry start to use some of these because we found that they are the metrics that you guys are asking for. Is my SEO working? I want to know about my branded traffic and non-branded traffic in advanced segments. So how does one set up a segment? You click on New Custom Segment. For the purpose of today's conversation, we're talking about branded and non-branded traffic. So I'll go back to the advanced segments and I'll show you some of those segments that we're going to be using. So let me go back to the overview here. Go to these segments. Actually, I want to cancel that and go back into some segments we've already set up. So branded keyword traffic. What is it? Why are we using it? What the heck is going on? So you can see here that as an SEO company, we want to know the difference between traffic that we're getting for our client that's coming to the website from organic search results. That's SEO. It's the basics of it. So basic and branded keyword traffic. The one filtering service we want to make sure we have in there is the way that people get to the website. How are they getting to the website is the medium. And we want to, Google will give us options here when we start to type, exactly matching organic. So we know this is organic search engine traffic, not paid, not direct, because direct won't have a keyword anyway. That's the first level of the filter. You then add an and statement, And you start using examples of your dealership name. Now there will be two groups that this breaks you up into. 85 to 90% of the groups have their own custom name of the dealership. Contemporary Jeep Chrysler Dodge, Barbera's Auto Group, Quirk Automotive. You've got the name of a person or a concept or a promise at the beginning of your business name. That is the branded part of your name. So we want to start to capture just the branded traffic in this filter. So we start to type in words. We think that in this example for Barbera's Autoland, if someone was to be typing in Barbera's, they must have heard of you through a branded traffic source of some kind. Is it bringing traffic back to your website through TV, radio, or newspaper? Did they find you in one of those traditionals? Could be something else. They could have seen a paid search ad before or visited your website before, and now they're coming back. But when you start to type in the keyword phrase, you get a list from Analytics, which is pretty cool, of all the different phrases of keywords of people that visit you. So I'm going to just select Barbera. Now some people spell it improperly, Barbera, instead of Barbera. And so these are OR factors. So the medium of organic and Barbera or Barbera, and then we save that statement. So let's take a look at this segment and see what's going on. So this is branded keyword traffic over time. It makes up 26% of the visitors. Now, how does this help us? I mean, how does this information help us to understand what good and bad SEO is? And if our SEO is gaining any traction? Well, we want to take a look at the flip side of it, the non-branded keyword traffic. What is this? This is an exclusion of traffic. So in the previous one, we were using the drop-down for include of traffic. Now we're excluding traffic from Barbera and Barbera. Now we want to take a look at these two filters compared to each other over time. That will start to give me my SEO feedback. Now looking at this, it's probably a surprise to you that branded versus non-branded traffic will have such a difference. And in fact, that in this account, non-branded traffic, non-branded keyword traffic, is making up more of the traffic than the branded terms. The blue being the branded, the yellowish orange color being the non-branded terms. I've run this for a bunch of clients. I've seen differences where if they haven't focused on SEO for a year or two, that your non-branded keyword traffic, of course, will make up less of a proportion than your branded traffic. In fact, your branded traffic will make up a majority of your organic traffic because you haven't focused on generic terms and geo-targets. So I see a bunch of questions coming in. Please, if anybody has any questions, go ahead and submit them as well about this topic and this terminology. I'm going to rehash the branded versus non-branded. Okay, so branded has your dealership name in it. It's a unique identifier. Non-branded keyword traffic does not. It excludes any traffic that came from organic keywords that has your company name in it. If anybody needs me to go back over that or you have a specific question, again, use that question and answer section. So, when we look at this over time, we try and compare year over year or quarter over quarter. If you leave both filters turned on, you get 4 lines of plotting. It's a little tough to read. So I will usually go out and break out things. But the important section is actually right here. It's hard to read the different line graphs here, but these metrics are the most telling to me right now. If I'm doing a good job of SEO, I will see that my percentage of change in visitors will rise from non-branded keyword traffic. You don't have to optimize yourself for your dealership name usually unless you've got a competitor in another state that happens to be running on the same terminology or the same company name. But running on the non-branded terms, like your geo-targets, are where you're going to find the SEO value of things. This is the best metric I can give you to tell you, is your SEO working? My second favorite metric to do is the number of keywords that you're getting traffic from. That's a little bit harder to put together, but I want to go over that as part of our advanced SEO topics and metrics. So easily going over something like this. Don't use the comparison. This is a second way to measure SEO. Don't use the comparison, but take a look at the total number of keywords you received traffic from in this time period. 5,367. Write it down somewhere. 5,367. Then select your previous time period. Now, I'm using, let's see here, I'm using quarter over quarter. I really do prefer year over year metrics for SEO, because if there's a seasonality difference in the area that you live in between the number of people that search, you want to be able to have apples to apples. For simplicity today, I'm using quarter over quarter. So looking at this, in the previous report, we knew it was somewhere around 5,000 keywords, 5,000 different keywords that people came to in traffic. In the previous quarter, I'm seeing that it was 3,000 different keywords that someone came to this website from. That is another good indicator to me that my long-tail keyword searches are expanding. That's another great ranking factor of how good your SEO is doing. Okay. So we've covered advanced segments and filters. We've covered branded and non-branded traffic filters, but there's something else I want to go into. There is a bunch of reports in the Dealer.com backend. So I'd like to get a feedback from everybody here. How many of you are going into Dealer.com and looking at the detailed keyword report or the search phrases report? Now, many other platforms also have this type of report, but I think you should ask for the specific metrics that are in this report to tell you more about your SEO. And I'll show you exactly why in a spreadsheet in just a second. How many people here have Dealer.com? I'd like to get a show of hands. On the right-hand side, just let me know if you're using Dealer.com or use that little hand button. I'll know how many hands go up. The majority of people have at least looked at or thought about a Dealer.com website package, even if your OEM says that you should have a Cobalt or a Vin Solutions or any of the other providers, or even Dealer.com as a default as a requirement by the OEM. I do not work for Dealer.com. I do not get any kickbacks. I don't get anything like that, but they are doing an amazing thing that they don't even realize, and I hope there's some Dealer.com reps on the line today listening in. Kick this back up to the top. Talk to Matt Murray or Eric Mayhew, and please get them to take a look at this report, because there is an interesting statistic here that most dealerships and even the platform provider don't realize is here. So what did I do? I logged into my Dealer.com account, and most other platforms have a very similar report. You just need to find it for yourself. So I logged into my Dealer.com account. I went to the analytics section. When I went to analytics, I clicked on reporting, the detailed reports. From detailed reports, I went into search phrases. I don't know why it's buried. It's an amazing report. It's so awesome. Take last month's report. Okay, go ahead and take last month's report. Let it generate and create the CSV. This is like an Excel sheet, export. Now look at what this report has on it before I go into the Excel sheets and the things that I've modified. It has the secure search terms, or not disclosed, and then it has every keyword phrase that you got traffic from, the number of visitors, and the form submissions from those visitors. If you had goals set up in your analytics account, you'd be able to tell that how many form submissions came from keyword terms. But let's trust the platform because the platform knows how many form submissions I'm getting, not just thank you pages from goal conversion. It would be great if it was in there. Not all people are tracking goals, but if you've got a platform provider that does the search phrase with the form submission, this is an amazing statistic. Now, there are some people asking me about, Matt, what is secure search? What is the not provided terminology in the keyword filtering here? About a year and a half ago, Google started to hide search results that were passed along as referral data. So if I typed in Jeep dealer California and I was logged into my Google account when I did it, they must have found some sort of security breach or something they were concerned about. They then hide the keyword phrase that I used to get to the dealership website from being tracked in statistics. It is the bane of the existence of all SEO and metrics people because guess what it makes up? 18 to 20% of traffic is now this unknown, not provided terminology. It ticks off a lot of us in the industry. And if any of you are looking at your analytics and know about this number, I'd like to see you comment about it in the question and answer section. I personally, as a company, would love to even have to pay to get this information. Right? So, that's what the not provided terminology is. I see a lot of people, it sucks, agreed, I know what's going on, it's a problem. So let me hop back to the terminology, the search phrases. Okay. Looking at this, I then took and dropped it into an Excel sheet. So when you export it from a CSV, it opens up. I did a little bit of nice formatting. And now I'm able to work with this data a little bit more. And there's a question that some people are asking about taking out not provided terminology from the filters. And yes, you're going to see that in just a second. So my main focus on this form and this reporting is the form submissions. For this dealership during the month of April, they got 89 form submissions. These are all the different terminologies that got form submissions as well. This is unfiltered. Now, what about my SEO value? Did SEO get me leads? That is the question on the mind of most dealerships. Did the SEO work of non-branded traffic get me leads? What you do is you filter this information by search phrase. So you go into the search phrases, you say text filter and does not contain, and you use your branded name to filter it out. You don't want terms. Just like branded versus non-branded, we're trying to get non-branded traffic here. We want terms that do not contain your branded name. So in this one, I did it for Quirk. So none of these terms should contain Quirk. They don't. Then you go down on the bottom and see that the sum of all these form submissions. Now look at this. Okay? If I go to the bottom of the page here, all of the form submissions were about 89, almost 90. The SEO non-branded traffic brought in 61. Now a bunch of you are going to stop me right there. You're going to say, Matt, don't be a jerk. What about the secure search? That number at the top is a big number. Right? So let's go back up to the top. This number right here, secure search. Now, how do I know that secure search, when somebody hid the keyword terms from me, if they were branded versus non-branded traffic? You could do a little bit more detailed math here if you wanted to. So in my analytics, it tells me that not provided made up about 19% of my traffic. If I assume that the rest of my traffic broke down into, let's say, the same proportion of branded versus non-branded traffic, as it did in the not set or not provided terminology, then you get to see how it's split up. So it's a very good question, and in the advanced segments, branded keyword traffic, in the not provided, there's going to be branded terms and there's going to be non-branded terms. You can't say for sure what the distribution is between those two. So just to make it simple and not take too much credit, I'm going to assume that 100% of the secure search could have possibly been branded traffic, from branded traffic. That's quite a large assumption, right? It could have been 50%. But for the sake of argument, even if it was 100%, we now have a very interesting number on our hands. The percentage of forms submitted from non-branded traffic is 69% in this case. I ran it for a bunch of the other locations for this dealership. I ran it for a bunch of other locations and other dealership brands and other clients of ours. You would be shocked to find that the average was somewhere between 35 and 65%. It's a huge swing because some of our clients have been on for a year or 2 years and been doing SEO on their own or contracted with us to do SEO for a long period of time. But the dealerships that hadn't done any kind of SEO didn't have that proportion because they weren't gaining the extra traffic and breaking into the other geo-targeted brand areas for their dealership against their competitors. They weren't competing well. So even if I took out 100% of the not provided terminology, we're still looking at 33%. Let's say that I only cut that number in half. Okay. I am good at doing my formulas here. Let's say that we said 50% of the traffic from the secure search was branded and 50% was non-branded. Then we do that kind of math. We still come up to about 50%. So your dealership manager, your GM, your internet manager, somebody says, what is the value of our SEO traffic? Is it getting us leads? Here it is. Non-branded traffic form submissions if you're on a Dealer.com platform. Is this report available on other platforms? Yes, absolutely. But you kind of have to push your platform to get the form submission keyword phrase. I'd like to open up the forum to any questions. Please let me know. If you have any questions, I'm going to go back to our presentation. I'm going to cover what PCG did for Capital Ford Lincoln. And by the way, I'm coming to the end of my presentation in about 3 or 4 slides. So I'm going to overview some of the strategies and advanced things and basic things that we did to accomplish this non-branded keyword traffic increase. And then I'm going to open it up to some questions. So start coming up with some questions. If you have any, please use the question and answer box on the right-hand side. So the overview of the concept here. We did the measurement over the last 2 years. We found that by working with Capital Ford Lincoln, they're a Canadian dealership, their traffic for non-branded terms is up 32%, which is a large percentage of their market. In fact, not going over the details, I can tell you that there was a 42% swing from SEO. You might say, Matt, over the 2 years, Capital Ford Lincoln did more branding. They expanded out their market. They did more TV and radio, and they did these other traditional media spends. They might have. But their branded traffic dropped by 9.5%, while their SEO non-branded traffic increased by 32.5%. A 42% point swing. How did they do it? We did it through ongoing content creation, well-optimized pages for targeted keywords and geo-targets, constant research to identify areas of adjustment and refinement in the SEO strategy, and delivering consistent, optimal results. We went out and did link building, content writing, on-site and off-site SEO. The platform does not matter. A lot of dealerships try to switch platforms because the guy down the street is outperforming them in every single category for SEO. The quick switch is going to be to hop onto the same platform that that provider has. Well, wouldn't you know, that provider is going to resell you the same exact SEO contract or the same exact SEO services. There is no exclusivity. Don't get me wrong. Certain platforms have better SEO abilities. Absolutely. If you're upgrading to a better platform with better SEO abilities and customization and content writing and materials and breadcrumbs and microformatting, yes, you can benefit from having the same platform as your competitor. But that does not mean you're going to rank as well or as high as them or above them just by switching platforms. You need to be more advanced. You need to break the mold. You need to stop using this generic branding or this generic SEO package. You need to go toward a package that is going to provide you with exclusivity in your market, someone that will not take your competition. And the whole point of my conversation today is to help dealerships do better in their SEO. But I think that you can all do better by getting an audit of your digital marketing. Now, some names I see in here I have seen before. I have seen you in a couple of different demonstrations and presentations. You may not have pulled the trigger just yet, but here's a great start to get into the market with SEO. Am I doing it correctly? Am I doing everything I possibly can? Get a digital audit of your internet marketing. Is it my platform? Is it the way I'm writing content? Is it the way I'm blogging? Do I need more resources? Am I spending enough? The $500 packages that we see dealerships opting into because it's co-opt or something's covered by the brand, let's say it's a Cobalt or a Dealer.com, some of those packages are identical to the package to the guy down the street. What advantage are you getting over your competition if you've got the exact same on and off checkbox SEO package? Usually very little. So I'm coming up on my time. I usually don't like to have more than an hour's worth of presentation. I want to let you know about some upcoming webinars and topics. And please, everyone, feel free to start with the questions on the right-hand side. Upcoming webinar, Internet Reputation Management and Why. This will be hosted by Melanie Ferrato and Kristen Chiarello from PCG's digital marketing team and consulting teams. They'll be talking about customer reputation management, your page one defense, the different things that you can do to increase the reviews, and it has to be from the top down, how to monitor those reviews and manage your reputation. If you're pushing people to that other 50 or 60% of people that are searching for your dealership name, you want that page one result on anything, Bing, Yahoo, and Google, to look fantastic. So if you're looking to register for another upcoming PCG event, I want you to go to bit.ly/dealerIRM, bit.ly/dealerIRM. This presentation will be available in the coming minutes on a couple of our different accounts for PCG. But here's some of the information I want you to take away. Get an audit. I want you to get this reviewed for your dealership. And let me know if any of this is true. Your dealership platform is doing all of these things for you. Having the same metrics and the same advanced package that somebody is proposing to you, that the dealership down the street is a great idea. Or spending just the same amount of money on that type of marketing that the competition is doing through a co-op package is a great idea. Being more advanced, having multiple locations, which the majority of you on this call today do, you need to get a more advanced strategy and something that is going to provide you with uniqueness that stands apart from your industry and that will not go after your competition to also do business with them. PCG can offer you that exclusivity agreement. So I'm going to take some of the questions on the right-hand side. My directors go crazy about not having that info, and some even think it's my fault. I believe they're talking about analytics and the not provided keyword terminology. Of course, that does happen. That is a problem. Is there a way to get the not set data? Mike, that's an excellent question. I've explored that topic myself for the last year. If you made your website 100% secure, since they're saying that it's coming from a secure search, when the click-through happens to an HTTPS website, does that mean I'll get that data? No. It's a huge bummer. The only way you can get the not set data is by assuming from the other materials that you have, the advanced segments I just showed you today, what percentage makes up branded and non-branded terminology, exclude the not set and not provided terms. That will be your breakdown for that remainder of traffic. That's what you have to do. It really ruins it, but that's what's going to have to happen. If we want a digital audit of our site, how do we go about that, and what is the cost, if any? Mark, very good question. Thank you for asking. The audit is $1,500 per rooftop. How can you get it? You can go to pcgdigitalmarketing.com, fill out our lead form, or email me, matt@pcgdigitalmarketing.com, or call us at the phone number that's on our website or on this presentation today, 732-450-8200. Ask for Matt, Mike, or Don. Matt, Mike, or Don. I'm the Chief SEO Strategist here at PCG. Mike Lizza is the sales manager, and Don Lampert is the other SEO strategist that works with me in my department. All three of us can help you on this audit. If you have multiple stores you want audited, PCG does have a discounted pricing structure for you. Is it worth the $1,500? Absolutely. Know what direction your dealership should be going in on the platform, in its content writing, in its geo-targets. Get an understanding of where things should be going. If you have any questions about any other services PCG provides, I will be happy to help you with that. Do you know if Dominion reports like the Dealer.com or DealerOn reports? Unfortunately, I do not know if Dominion or DealerOn or Vin Solutions have the same exact report. Obviously, it's not going to be located in the same place. But do we have the exact same report? I'm sure you can find it or get it from your platform provider. If they don't, demand it. If they don't, I would start to demand it. So if there aren't any other questions, I think we've concluded our session for today. I want to thank everyone for coming out. Please feel free to get in touch with me at all the different places that I had listed at the top of my presentation that I'm going to go back to. Please tweet this presentation, any notable quotes. I do appreciate that one of our members here noticed that the quote at the top here, "Hi, I'm Matt Osuch. You may remember me from such presentations as," that's a Troy McClure quote from The Simpsons. Any feedback you have or any questions you have, email me, call the office, tweet at me, find me on Facebook, look up some of the other presentations I've done, or go ahead and just reach out to the office by phone. So please give me a call. I look forward to speaking with you. The presentation will be emailed to all people involved in this registration today. I really appreciate the large number of people. This might be the largest presentation we've ever done on web stats and analytics and measurement for automotive dealers. Really great time. Thank you, Alex, for your feedback. I do appreciate that. So we will be sending out an email that will have both the video